I just want to finally report here that we are resuming operations, regular operations at Will Rogers World Airport. At this point in time, all the planes have been debarked. We are allowing people to leave the area, or disembarked, excuse me. We're allowing people to leave the area, leave the property of the airport. Anybody who had been pre-screened, who is awaiting a flight, is allowed to stay in the secure area. Okay, and Karen will have some more information in reference to flight delays and things like that. But I can report that a suspect was located, deceased, with an apparent gunshot wound to the head. We don't have that individual positively identified, partly because of his injuries. I can tell you that it is a white male. I can also tell you that he was found in his vehicle, which is described as a red pickup truck. Earlier today, our tactical unit was able to identify a potential suspect vehicle. They used techniques to blow out one of the windows and could tell that there was somebody in there. At that point, they did not know whether the person was hiding, sleeping, deceased, or otherwise. Once that was confirmed, we made a clean sweep of the airport to make sure that there were no potential suspects or any other possible dangers. And at that point, that's when we went ahead and opened up the airport. Really, the precautionary measures and the delays are really on our part. It was the police department's call to delay things as a precautionary measure. Please keep in mind that when there's unknown, when there's a vehicle that's potentially booby-trapped, there may be things inside the vehicle that we just don't know. We have to take our time. We have to take our time to clear the vehicle to make sure that there's no more danger to the anybody at the airport. So at this point in time, we're trying to resume regular operations at the airport. We do have a partial crime scene on the second level of the parking garage. That's where the vehicle is. Keep in mind, this is a crime scene in relation to a homicide and a possible suicide. So that's the information that we have now.
People in to be able to get to the curb to pick up their passengers. At this point in time, if you have the flexibility, we are definitely encouraging people to reschedule. All of the airlines here in Oklahoma City are waiving fees. They are not charging to change your reservation. So if you have that flexibility, I would recommend that you try to book your flight for another day. I think that's all I have.
Let me just recap today's events, and I do want to give a special thanks, obviously, to the airport staff, who has been working very, very diligently to keep everyone safe. Again, it was our call for safety measures to make the delays. Obviously, when you have a potential suspect inside a building as big as the airport and several levels of parking area to search, it's just going to be time consuming. But again, to recap, we got this call a little bit before 1 p.m. and it was in reference to a shooting. There was a very strong and joint response to the Will Rogers World Airport. I do want to thank all the other players, all the other agencies that were here, especially the airport. Want to obviously give our condolences to the Southwest family who did lose an employee today, but also want to thank the OHP, the FBI, and really a lot of the other agencies who were here very quickly to help. We were able to very quickly, number one, find the victim, get them transported to an area hospital, and unfortunately they did die at the hospital. But we were able to determine very, very quickly that it was not an active shooter situation. We do believe that this was a premeditated act against the victim. This was not random. And obviously the investigation is ongoing in reference to the other details. But once we had determined that this was not an active shooter situation, then we basically used all our resources, including our tactical unit and our bomb squad, just to play it safe, to search the entire building, to make sure that everyone was safe, to make sure that there were no other potential threats to anybody here at the airport. We found the vehicle. We're able to determine that somebody was in the vehicle, and then finally we used some of our resources, our tactical robot, to determine there was an individual inside the vehicle who was deceased, we believe of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and we also believe this is the suspect. So now I'm going to open it up to questions.
Is the suspect a former employee of the Southwest?
Again, we have not positively identified who the suspect is.
The person you believe is, though? Is that
right. We have not positively identified, therefore we can't say, is it possible they were a former employee? Yeah, it's possible, because we haven't identified that person yet.
Do you know whether they knew each other?
In most cases of homicide, the victim and the suspect do know each other.
There were a few tweets saying that this was out of revenge. This guy is, obviously you don't know
if he's worked here before, but there were a few tweets out there saying this was some kind of revenge.
It's very early in the investigation, so we have to determine that. I can't say that's not the case, but at the same time, I can't confirm that at this point in time. It's too early in the investigation to figure out the exact motive, although the crime does appear to be premeditated.
Where was the suspect's vehicle located?
The suspect's vehicle was located on the second level parking garage. It is a red pickup truck, and again, we found who we believe to be the suspect deceased in it.
Where was the suspect's vehicle in relation to where the victim was shot?
All I've seen is aerial footage of the vehicle. I don't know.
Is there any crime scene in the terminal that would impact flight operations tomorrow?
No, luckily there are not. The only potential crime scene is going to be where the vehicle was at. The rest of it is being cleared away for normal operations.
Paco, we've gotten reports this is kind of a sniper type situation. Is that the case?
I can't say for sure yet. We do believe it was premeditated. We do believe that the suspect had a firearm, obviously to commit this murder, and obviously to use the gun on himself.
To follow up then, did the suspect fire from out of the back of the truck?
I don't know.
Captain, what kind of security changes, if any, are going to be in place because of this investigation and moving forward?
Well, I can't speak for the airport. I'll let Karen make that determination. But I can tell you, anytime there's any type of security breach, everything is reassessed and reevaluated. So if there can be improvements, if there's oversights, obviously it's up to us to make them. And I'll let Karen talk about that.
Well, in the most immediate circumstance right now, everybody that left the concourse is rescreened to make sure that anybody went into the secure area, again, didn't have any weapon or any other thing. Going forward, just like everybody anymore, we do have active shooter training. We train for these situations. We have lots of law enforcement presence on site. We have a very heightened level of security just all the time, which is one of the reasons.
Okay, you've been listening to a news conference there with Oklahoma
Footage to see if the crime was actually caught on camera.
Well, that's something I'm not going to address. Obviously, that is under police investigation, and they'll have to deal with that.
The victim said he worked at Southwest Airlines. Do we know what his role was?
I do not.
Paco, can you tell us what kind of firearm was used?
I don't have that information, and once we can confirm and release that information, we will. But at this,
Registered too?
I don't have that information.
Was that pickup truck found in a place that's open to the public, or is that employee parking or anything like that?
My understanding is just in the parking garage where anybody can park, but we have yet to confirm that.
But it's been closed off as of right now.
That immediate area has, not the entire level of the parking garage, because we have people that we want to be able to leave and come and go, but that immediate area has been cordoned off.
How many witnesses are there to this shooting?
I don't have a count on witnesses. Initially, we had misinformation that there were more than one victim. We confirmed that was not true. I just want to say thank you to all the media who were, number one, out here very, very quickly. You guys allowed us to use you as a resource to put the information out there. A very scary situation, especially for family members who have people that work here who may be traveling to.
So you've been listening to that press conference with Captain Paco Balderrama talking about the situation there at the airport after a deadly shooting. Operations are resuming. People can now leave the airport, and we want to go back now to Captain Balderrama.
He had been shot, or did somebody see him be shot?
What was the I don't know what the circumstances were, and we have not pulled the 911 tapes. I have not had a chance to review them. Also, as far as video, there may be video. We have not had a chance to review all of it. So at this point, we don't know if the actual crime itself was caught on tape.
Are you confident he acted alone?
At this point in time, we are confident he acted alone.
Do you know how many shots were fired?
I don't know how many shots were fired.
Even though you haven't confirmed his identity, are police trying to go back to his house or where he may have lived to see, if there was any evidence that may have indicated that he was going to do this?
That's going to be part of the ongoing investigation, and I don't have any further details than what I've already stated.
What leads you to believe it was premeditated?
Well, the fact that this individual waited. This individual went there and waited to for the employee to either be coming or going to take his opportunity.
So he knew his schedule. He knew his routine.
Absolutely.
Were there any explosives found?
No. Keep in mind that we're trained to look for any device to be a potential threat. So, there were things in the truck that made us more cautious, but I can't confirm whether there were any devices or not.
Karen, how many flights were canceled, and how many people were affected by this?
Well, we don't have an accurate head count, but we had at least several hundred people that were in the concourse who were not allowed to leave because we had a lot of people that had come in for flights, were getting ready to board a flight. We actually had several aircraft that had just landed, but because again we kind of have to keep everybody contained, unfortunately we had three flights that had people on the aircraft for that time. So obviously that was a long period of time to try to get that cleared. So that was probably another 300 people amongst those three different aircraft. And then of course employees, we had several hundred employees that really basically had to suspend all of their work as well.
Any planes diverted that are now en route?
I don't know if they're en route, but we had multiple planes that were diverted. Once we kind of determined what the situation was, the director of airports asked the control tower to do a ground stop, so we stopped all aircraft flying in or out of the airport, and many of those aircraft were diverted to other airports.
Which airports were they diverted to?
I wouldn't know. There would be all kinds of different airports depending on the airline, where in transit the aircraft was. It could have gone to multiple different airports.
Were passengers who were on board the planes on the tarmac, were they informed why they were being held on the planes?
Yes, they were informed, but it's still a difficult situation when you're sitting there and you're not getting as much information, obviously, just because everybody's trying to figure out what's going on at the same time.
Did you say 25 cancellations earlier?
Yes, I did.
What time was the suspect found?
The suspect was actually found a couple hours ago, but we weren't able to actually confirm that he was deceased until approximately 45 minutes ago. I will say this: despite the long delays, we parking area.
What happens next with the investigation? Are you going to have to tow that truck out of here eventually?
Yeah, well, at this point, this area is going to remain a crime scene, so we have to process the entire crime scene. At some point, we will take custody of the vehicle to further process it at the police lab.
Where in the truck was the suspect found?
I don't know where in the truck he was found.
Can you speak to the amount of resources on scene here today?
Yeah, it's quite extensive. We had our tactical unit, our bomb squad. We had, of course, other agencies such as OHP and FBI. So it's quite extensive.